Lainey Wilson, a Strings and Spurs artist to watch in 2021. I know you have some very exciting things that you've been working on and
Yes.
some news that you just announced today. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, man. I'm so pumped. I'm so proud. I have a record coming out. It's called Sayin What I'm Thinkin, and it comes out February 19th. I could scream. I'm just like, they say you get your entire life to write your first record, and that's the way
Mhm.
it feels. Like from top to bottom, I'm so proud of the writing, the production, everything that has gone into this. And February 19th, I get to share it with y'all.
Yeah, very exciting. So I know you're bringing forth, you have some songs already out, some new ones. I know you're bringing forth 12 new songs, and then 8 of which have already been available, and a ninth available today. So what made you include that batch of songs?
So we put an EP out. It was called Redneck Hollywood, and we
Mhm.
decided, more than ever right now, people need music, and it's just been a crazy year. And I was like, you know what? The one thing that is healing for me is music. So we need to release this bit by bit. So that's kind of what we did, and we were like, let's just keep cranking them out there. And then we just decided, you know what? Let's go on and just put the whole thing out there. So it's called Saying What I'm Thinking, and that's how we chose every single song that was gonna go on the record. Like whether it was Dirty Looks or Things a Man Ought to Know or even WWDD, like was it, actually saying what I was thinking?
Right.
And it's just I'm so tickled. I literally can't stop smiling. I've been doing this all day.
And you co-wrote every song on there, correct?
I did. I take a lot of pride in my songwriting. I would say before I was really, doing the whole artist thing here in Nashville, I would have considered myself more of a songwriter. That was really my way to try to get my foot in the door. I
Mhm.
wrote my first song when I was 9 years old, and I love it. It literally is therapy for me, and not really sure what I'd do without it. So it's a big blessing in my life for sure.
Yeah, I recently saw, didn't you write Share If You Want To by Luke Combs? Didn't you write that with Luke? I had no idea that you also were a co-writer on that one.
I sure did. Yeah, man, that was probably 2014. I
Wow.
had already been in town a few years, and I met this boy at Tin Roof Revival on
Mhm.
Demumbrian, and he was playing in his flip flops and cargo shorts up there on the stage. And I remember having this overwhelming feeling that, like, this dude is going to do some crazy things.
Yeah.
And I remember walking up to him at Tin Roof, and he didn't know me from Adam. And I said, I want to write with you. And I really didn't do that. I mean, I went out places and tried to make friends and shake hands, but
Mhm.
it was not really like me to just go up and be like, I want to write with you. But I did that night, and he was like, well, shoot, all right. So he started making some trips from North Carolina to Nashville to write music. He would come over to my studio where I was working at and my camper trailer where I was living, and we'd write songs. And we ended up writing this idea that he had called Share If You Want To, and he still plays it at every single one of his shows. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
crowd favorite for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I've seen that one live. It's everyone still loves it. So have you written with other artists and stuff? Do you have any other cuts then? Any major cuts like that one?
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the show This Is Us, Chrissy Metz on that show, we've been writing a good bit together, and she's really killing it in the country world. She decided, to kind of take a leap of faith and start doing the music thing, and I'm so proud of her and excited for her. But we really, I feel like we've gotten some songs that one of them has been released, but it's it's going to be a great body of work. I'm so proud of her. And like, a lot of the times when you hear an actress or an actor is putting out a record and doing this kind of thing, like you're like, I don't know, but I'm telling you
Right.
right now, Chrissy Metz has got it going on, and I'm proud to have some of her stuff.
Yeah. Isn't she also then working with Luke Combs' team?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is. It's really crazy how full circle
Right.
this town can be.
Right. Right. And then you also have, you said This Is Us, but then also you have what, 3 songs on Yellowstone, is it?
Have you seen Yellowstone?
I have not. My friends are really big into it, but I haven't gotten into it yet.
You've got to when you have a chance, but it needs to be one of those things where you sit down and you really pay attention and watch the thing, because
Right.
it's freaking awesome. But yeah, I've had 3 songs in there so far, and I had one. It was the second season, first episode, and then this past season, the third season, I had two in there, and two of the songs, which are actually on my record, Straight Up Sideways and Small Town Girl. And I mean, you dream about playing your shows, playing shows and people singing the words back to you, or hearing your song going down the road on the radio, but you don't really dream about your songs making it into one of the best and one of my most favorite shows that's on right now.
Right.
And it's been a pretty cool experience for me. And Taylor Sheridan, the producer and the writer of the show, has really just kind of taken me under his wing and just it's been awesome.
Right. Yeah. So then also you have a new single available today, Neon Diamonds. So what made you put that one out ahead of the record?
I just felt like I need to whoop some ass. That's what I needed to do. I was like, it's time to whoop some ass. And that's the first track on the record. It's kind of an introduction. It's kind of setting the tone. And it's one of those that I'm like, everybody needs a little pick me up right now. And that's what that song is for me. It's one of those songs, even though we can't go out and we can't, raise hell and do all that. It's one of those songs that I feel like the girls will get ready to. They'll, put on their going out dresses, that kind of thing. And it's one of those songs where I feel like, it just shows that you don't have to take yourself too serious and you can have just a great time doing it. And funny thing is too, when we recorded that song at Jay Joyce's studio, my mama happened to be in town and we needed gang vocals. And my mama cannot sing. I'm talking about she cannot carry a tune in a bucket. It's bad. It's real bad. Like when I was little, I would put my hand over her mouth because it was so terrible when she would try to sing me lullabies. But somehow we just needed extra voices. And so the little echo part on the last chorus of Neon Diamonds, you can actually hear my mama. And so never in a million years did I think my mama would be singing on my record, but I guess crazier things have happened.
That makes it a little bit more special even.
Yes, and she's been telling everybody back at home. She's like, I made it on the record. I'm like, oh God, don't be telling people that. People know how you sound in church.
Yeah. I think, like you said, I think it's an appropriate track to kind of open up the record. Just like I think for the Redneck Hollywood, how all those songs very much so fit the title Redneck Hollywood, especially your song LA. I think that one is very kind of embodies the whole spirit of that EP.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we decided to go with Redneck Hollywood because I kind of feel like that describes me to a T.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been the type of person, even from a very early age. I've always had stars in my eyes. I've always been a dreamer. I've always had things that I wanted to do, people that I wanted to meet, things, just I wanted to see stuff.
Right.
And but there's no doubt. And just sitting here talking to me, I bet you can understand real quick that I'm a redneck.
Right.
So
right.
just kind of combine those two things and that's it. And yeah, that's why we were like, that's got to be the name of the EP. And it just describes my life to a T, my sound, my look, everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that EP has done some very big things for your career. I think that was initially how you first got on my radar when that EP was put out. I think it was John Party, shared something to a story, and I from there gave a listen.
Golly, man, I love John.
Yeah.
He's a good dude, and he's actually one of my neighbors. So
really?
Like as the crow flies, probably a mile or two from my house, and just good people, and it's really great to see people who are just as talented, who are just as kind, do really well. And so I'm proud of him.
Yeah. His little mini series Party Time, I've been enjoying that.
He is crazy, man. He is crazy.
Like it. Yeah.
He knows how to put on a show.
Yeah. I guess he filmed it all himself too, and that whole show, him and Summer. So then so your current radio single from that EP, Things a Man Ought to Know, has garnered more than 35 million streams. So what has it been like to watch that song just take off?
It's hard to even really put it into words, but this song is so special to me and so important to me for a lot of different reasons. And, when we wrote this song, I thought I knew exactly what I was writing it about. And turns out, I mean, really, that's kind of the beauty of songwriting. Sometimes you really have no clue what you're writing about until later on down the road. And people literally message me every single day and they're like, this is my anthem right now. Like, I'm going through a terrible heartbreak, and this is getting me through, and it's reminding me, you know, of how much I'm worth and how strong I am. And while I was writing that song, you know, I was, of course, wanting people to feel something, you know, after I put it out, but I didn't realize at the time, you know, exactly how much it was gonna impact people. And the cool thing for me is I'm a big fan and believer in having good character and, you know, treating people the way that you want to be treated. And I feel like this song is literally that. You know, it's not about whether you can change a tire or turn a wrench, you know, but if you don't, you know, we need to figure that out. Whoever's watching this, I'll send you a YouTube link.
Right.
But really, I'm proud that this is the first song of mine that has really gotten that kind of streaming numbers is crazy to me, first of all. But I feel like it's exactly what I stand for, and, you know, what I want people to know that I stand for. And I'm proud that it's Things a Man Ought to Know.
Right. And despite the title, I've got to say, since you put it out, I've probably listened to it a couple hundred times myself.
You were 200 of those streams. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, probably something like that. So then from your new record that's coming out in February, do you have a favorite song from Sayin What I'm Thinkin?
Oh, that's a hard question because, you know, they're all like my babies.
Right.
It's like, you know,
never easy to choose.
Yeah. Man, whew. You know what? I feel like it kind of changes for me all the time. And I'm like, I tell you this, and this might sound crazy, but I'm such, like, I love my record so much, and I'm such a fan of it that sometimes I listen to it and forget that it's mine. And that's when you know that, like, I truly am a fan of it. And I feel like every time I listen to it, I have a different favorite. My favorite right now has probably got to be one called Keeping Bars in Business. And that one actually comes out on February 19th. But it's one of those songs that I feel like all of us can relate to, with an exception of 2020. You know, we can't really go to bars and do the whole thing. But yeah, it was one of those songs that I wrote, and I had just gotten off tour with Morgan Wallen and Hardy on the If I Know Me tour. And when I was gone, when I was on the road, my dog at the time, she was a little Boston Terrier. Her name is Puddin'. I know, crazy name, but her name was Puddin'. And she was back in Louisiana staying with my parents because I couldn't really take care of her like I needed to.
Right, on the road.
And yes, man, it's hard. But while I was on the road, they had to put her down. And it was one of the hardest times of my life. I mean, this was the dog that moved to Nashville with me, the dog that would lick the tears off my face when I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. Right. You know, she was my girl. And I don't know if you have pets. Do you have pets?
Yeah, I got a little Shih Tzu.
Okay, so you get it. That's like, it's your baby.
Right.
So anyway, I had just gotten back to Nashville. We were in Denver, and I walk into the right, and they asked me, you know, they said, "How you doing, Lainey? You on tour? You killing it?" Blah blah blah. And I was like, to be honest with you, like hell. I mean, I'm having an extremely hard time. My dog just died, and we were kind of going around the room, and we were talking about all of our struggles. You know, Matt Rogers, his mama was in the hospital from something. Jordan Schmidt was talking about something else, and we really just got to talking about how, like, even though we were going through things and just, you know, kind of having a rough spell, there is somebody out there in the world, whether it's a mile or two down the road or on the other side of the world, they are having the best day of their entire life.
Right.
You know, they're celebrating. I mean, they've got, you know, maybe they just got married or had a baby or just graduated college, or, I mean, whatever it is. But those things right there, whether you are celebrating or your heart's breaking, you know, that's what keeps the world turning, and that's what keeps bars in business. So that's kind of how that hook came about. So that was pretty special to me right now.
Right. Kind of goes to talk about them, like you're saying, the songwriter side of you more. Just like I think that's very much so on display in your song Rolling Stone. I think that one really is a very much so the real songwriter type. You can feel the lyrics on that one and stuff.
Man, that's another one I'm proud of. And Jay Joyce, he just did his thing. And, you know, I like to call him the mad scientist, because it's like he just throws everything into a pot and like stirs it up, and you're like, what's this man doing? Like,
Right.
I don't know what his thought process is right
It
now.
just comes
I
out.
know it's gonna be cool,
Right.
but by the time he got done with it, I'll tell you, I felt like after just listening to it all the way through, I felt like I had watched an entire movie, and I had felt every kind of emotion, and he just nailed it. Yeah, so he brought a song that, you know, was one of my favorite songs I'd ever written, and just made it even that much more powerful. And yeah, I'm proud of that one.
Yeah. So I know this is gonna be even more difficult for you, but do you have you said favorite song one of your favorites you've written? Do you have a favorite that you've ever written? Maybe one that's out now, one that's not out yet.
Yes, I do. It's not out yet.
So you can't say too much yet.
It's not, you know what? I've played it out so many places.
Okay.
I'll talk about it because I am going to be putting it out hopefully here soon. But it's one of those songs that, like, I play at writers' nights, and so many people can relate. Do you have a sibling?
Yep.
You do? How many siblings do you have?
Just one. I got an older brother.
Older brother. Well, then you will get this. So I have one sister. We are 19 months apart. She's my big sister. I mean, like, you know, we grew up in the same bedroom. We shared everything. And you know, I wanted to dress just like her. I wanted to do my hair just like hers. You know, she is my big sister. And we were taught all the same things in life, all the same lessons, everything. We went, you know, all the same Bible stories, whatever. Like, our parents taught us the exact same thing, but it's so crazy how we turned out to be so different from each other. It's unbelievable. I don't know about you and your brother, but it's like we're the same, but we're you know, she's an accountant. She's an accountant with a dog, a husband, a baby, another one on the way, and here I am just acting a fool and trying to do this thing.
Right.
And all that to say, I wrote a song for her, and it's called Two-Story House.
Okay.
And it hits different, and I think it's going to really move some people. I know it already has, and I hadn't even put it out. I mean, on my fan page and stuff, people are like, my favorite song is Two-Story House, and it's not even out yet. So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, just by the way you're talking about, I can definitely relate to that same sentiment and stuff. Like, my older brother, he's like doing computer science stuff, coding and stuff, and I can't stand any of that. Anything
Isn't that crazy?
Related. Yeah. Yeah.
But I bet y'all have a lot of similarities too.
That we do. A lot of similar interests and stuff just from growing up and stuff. Kind of sounds a little bit like the vibe of The House That Built Me by Miranda Lambert, maybe a little bit.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Yes, it's kind of in that same vein for sure. And yeah, it's one of those, like, real, true, honest, to your core. You know, most of the time when I play it out, people are crying, and it just hits them. So.
Okay. So I know you said also you've been touring before. You toured with, we said, Morgan Wallen and Hardy and stuff. So have you written it all with them? I mean, Hardy, he's been killing as a songwriter, has tons of other cuts and stuff.
Yes.
Written it all together?
Well, I haven't written with Morgan.
Okay.
But I have written several times with Hardy, and we actually wrote a few weeks ago. It was probably like the fourth time we've ever written, but he just is a genius. He really is. I mean, every bit of success that has come his way in the songwriting world, I'm gonna tell you right now, he's deserved every single bit of it. He's on another level. And you know, I mean, I feel like I like to be in writing rooms where I feel like I'm learning something, and I feel like I'm taking something with me into my next write. And that's how I feel when I write with Hardy. And we wrote really well together, and we're gonna keep on writing together. And you know, it's he's just killing it in every part of his life right now, and I'm so proud of him. But hadn't written with Morgan, that'd probably be a shit show, but a fun shit show.
Yeah, it seems like it's a good time. The whole little squad has a very unique, fun dynamic.
Oh my gosh, those boys, they're something.
So if you were in it all with like other artists as well, you said Luke Combs, Hardy. Is Hardy like are those kind of the two primary ones you've done with so far? Or have you done some other
well,
roles?
So Ashley McBride is a dear friend of mine, and we write a good bit together. And she's another one of those people, just like I was talking about John Party. She is just as talented as she is kind. When I tell you that girl's got a heart of gold, there ain't a fake bone in her body. And I'll tell you this, because when people ask me about her, this is a story that like sticks out in my mind. But we were on the road. Golly, time is flying. I can't even remember exactly when it was, but we were on the road. I think we were somewhere in Texas. And I was just talking about like, I'm ready to do this dang thing. And, and she was starting to really get a lot of traction and stuff. And she told me, she said, well, Lainey, she said, I'm going to take your hand and I'm going to pull you over the wall. I'm going to help as much as I can pull you this wall. She said, you got to promise me one thing. You got to promise me that when you find somebody who you love and believe in as much as I love and believe in you, that you got to do the same thing. And I said, deal, 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 deal. And that's the kind of person she is.
Yeah.
Really, it's unbelievable. And I hope I can be that for another artist here soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, kind of that just great mentality. So then ultimately, have you always had like the dream of moving to town and stuff? So like, what ultimately made you pursue a career in country music?
Jonathan, it's this is gonna sound crazy, but I was 9 years old. I had written my first song, and it was like a Britney Spears kind of song. I mean, my taste has definitely changed, but I love me some Britney Spears back in the day. But my parents, they took me on a family vacation to Gatlinburg. I was 9 years old, and on the way home to Louisiana, I begged my daddy. I was like, "Come on, Daddy, like just take me through Nashville. I just want to see it." So, and he had never been either. And crazy thing is, this actually what I'm doing used to be his dream when he was a little boy. Like he would roll a picnic table out to the side of the road and act like he was playing guitar for the cars passing by. So he was like, "Okay, we'll go through Nashville." Well, I remember literally like it was yesterday. And I don't know how in the world I remember this, but I was on the interstate. I was in the back seat, and I remember seeing the Batman building out to my left. And I said to my parents, I said, "This is home."
Wow.
And my mama looked in the back seat and she was like, I just remember it. I just had this weird sense of like 9-year-old peace. And she was like, "Lainey, don't say that. You're my baby. You're my baby." But I truly, when I tell you, I've always known. And I went home and kept on writing songs, even at 9 years old. I mean, I was writing songs about tequila and cigarettes and really didn't even know what, either was. We didn't have either at the house. So my parents were like, "Where in the hell did you hear that?" But it's been a long journey. I've always known that I wanted to be here, but I knew that I needed to do a lot in the meantime before I just moved up here and did the thing. So when growing up, I literally took every opportunity that I could to play wherever. I mean, whether it was nursing homes, festivals, but in 8th grade all the way through high school, my job was impersonating Hannah Montana. And that was my job. I did it for 5 years and I made bank. I'm talking about 3 or 4 parties a weekend. Wow. I was killing it. But actually the last place I played was St. Jude, and that was also another little like moment where I was like, I've got to do this for a living. Like this is what I've got to do. So, and a lot of the times Lainey Wilson would open up for Hannah Montana, and I mean, if they let her, sometimes they were like, "Who's Lainey Wilson?" I'm like,
"I gotta get your name out there somehow.
Just give me my money. Just give me my money." So, but then I started playing with a band in North Louisiana. It was a band called Black Kings. Those boys were so good to me, and we played. I mean, I was 17, and we were playing, bar gigs 2 or 3 nights a weekend. And I mean, I really wasn't even old enough to be getting in there, but I did it. And I finally decided, if I'm really gonna do this thing, if I'm really gonna do it, I need to move. So I bought a camper trailer, and there was one guy that I knew here in town. And actually my grandfather back in the day, in the late 70s, he had given this guy, his name was Jerry Cupid. He had given this guy like $300 to just like help him like move to Nashville and get started. So as a favor in return, years later, he literally let me live in his studio parking lot for free for 3 years in my camper. And yeah, it's literally just been one of those things where I'm like, I've had a lot of obstacles coming my way,
Right.
but I have been bound and determined to not let any of it stop me, because actually I had lived there for 3 years, and then after I had been in my camper trailer for 3 years, he had passed away, and I was like, this is the only person I know in Nashville. I'm gonna have to start completely over. So that's what I did. I mean, I sold my camper, and I said, well, I sure as hell ain't going home. So this is it. This has got to work. This is really the only thing I know how to do. So, I knew it was going to take me a long time.
Right.
I just knew it. But finally, year 7.5 of being in Nashville, I got a publishing deal with Sony ATV.
Mhm.
And then shortly after that, got a record deal with Broken Bow BMG. And it's been awesome. It was like nothing for a very long time, for years and years. And then just blessings galore and just stepping stones one after another.
Yeah, I don't know where I recently heard that camper story. I don't know if it's another interview or something, but I heard about that, and that was a pretty inspirational story. I think, didn't you say one time you got like stuck or something, or there was like some shower problem or something?
Man, we can sit here all day and talk
Yeah,
about
talk
camper
about the
trailer
problems.
stories. My gosh, it was difficult, but I will tell you this: it taught me that this thing wasn't going to be easy.
Right.
And when the tornado sirens be going off, I just hold on. Like my camper would be shaking and rocking.
Right.
And that's a very good representation of the music business.
Yeah, it really is a 10-year town, like they say. So,
Yeah.
and then another thing is, what was I going to say? I can't remember right now. But so do you have a favorite career moment then so far?
Yes, I do. And it was almost a year ago, and I got to play the Grand Ole Opry.
Okay.
And that's it for me right now. And that'll probably always be my answer.
Right.
Because just like I was saying, the trip that I took when I was 9 years old, my parents actually took me to the Opry too. And I remember who we saw. We saw Crystal Gale, Phil Vassar, Little Jimmy Dickens, Bill Anderson. And also remember where I was sitting, and remember just thinking, I'm going to be up there one day. Mm-hmm. And I was manifesting it at 9 years old. But it's wild. So that's got to be the moment for me. My whole family got to come up here, and this was right before the shutdown, so everybody got to be back there, and it was just one of those moments for me that made me feel like this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm in the right place in my life. And it was just a warm feeling that I got to be on the same stage as so many of my heroes.
So when did you first then initially move to town?
I moved to town in August of 2011.
Okay. All right. So you're on your year number 10.
Well, first of all, I will tell you this too. I heard it was a 7-year town, and then 7 years passed me up, and then I heard it was an 8-year town. And now I'm like, okay, well, I've heard it was a 10-year town. So
yeah, just for the record, I've always heard 10. So it's year 10 for you. So big thing is coming for sure.
This is my year.
Yeah. So then ultimately so you took that leap of faith then just because you knew it was something you always had to do. So has it been very rewarding of this whole time to see these things kind of just like take off and stuff?
It really has. It's I know that there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in this business. I mean, you're going to be on top at one point, and then you're going to be down here, and it's going to be that way. So I think it's kind of learning how to just like kind of be even keel and grateful and excited, for things. But it's been pretty awesome to see things really starting to come to fruition.
Right.
And it just I've just tried to just have faith and know that this is what I was supposed to do. This is what I was put on the earth to do. And I feel like deep in my heart that if the Lord blesses you with a certain talent or a gift, you're supposed to use it. Right. So, and I cuss too much to be a Christian singer. So I was like, country it is.
There you go. Got a few more questions for you then. So then this, you define your style as bell bottom country. Can you like give us a little bit into that? Like, what do you mean?
Absolutely. So the best way for me to describe it quickly, and then I'll kind of like dive into it, but is country with a flair.
Okay.
Um, I love everything throwback. I feel like things that are throwback come with a good story. And I'm a sucker for a good story. Even if it is a hat at a vintage shop, I feel like even though I don't know what the story is, I feel like it comes with one. You know, if you walk in my house, you can see like my, I have this like old accordion. I've got my parents' wedding china, and I've got my daddy's old cowboy chaps, and I just love things like that. And I feel like, country music also tells a good story. So, but the whole, just like I said, like I'm a sucker for just bell bottoms, anything that has anything that looks just vintage like that, like give it to me, please. Like it's just right up my alley. So that's the best way for me to describe it. Something that's bell bottom country, fresh, but also kind of familiar.
Okay. That's a good description of it, I guess. So then one more thing. You got the new record coming out February 19th. What can fans just expect from you in 2021?
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you what I hope they can expect. I hope and I pray that we will be back on the road and we will be hugging necks, because I know live shows do me so much good. And it's awesome to hear music. It's awesome to be in your car by yourself listening to a record, but there is something really cool about being in just a big old group of people and kind of feeling like you're all pouring your heart out together.
Right.
And I'm ready for that. And I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna manifest it too. That's what they can expect, and they can expect a big old hug from me, and just music, new music, and that's it, man.
Sure seems like we're getting close to that point, hopefully.
I know. I feel it. I
Don't
do.
want to
I'm
jinx it.
ready.
I think we're almost there.
We are.
All right. Well, Lainey Wilson, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. New record,
You're so sweet.
February 19th. Talk soon.
That's it. All right, buddy. Be good.